Hello, welcome to Hell. This is White Devil, and I run the show. This is my first video to which I plan to refer future viewers because of the specific nature of the story here and the claim that proceeds from it. So, long time ago, 10 years, 15 years ago, I was walking to work from the train station, and there was a slower moving black woman ahead of me. And when I passed her, she started to exclaim, "White devil! White devil!" Obviously, there wasn't much I could do about that. I couldn't formulate a response, so I proceeded on and just went on with my day. Now, I'm not saying it was a massive trauma. I'm not saying I've been losing sleep over it this whole time. But it did happen, and I think it gives us a window onto several converging lines of racist thought in our society today. So there's a set of ideas that are in vogue, and none of them are accurate. The first is that racism cannot apply to whites. White people, people with white skin, people who appear to be white, etc. A second is that people with dark skin are inherently disadvantaged. A third is that racial principles should inform political decisions. And a fourth is that uniformity should exist, but in theory or in practice, between policy opinions and racial groupings. All of these are false statements. These are bad ideas, almost exclusively derived from erroneous lines of reasoning and pathological sensations arising predominantly from racial sentiment. So that's our target here, racial sentiment, because from that grows racial ideology. Ultimately, we should all be working harder to eliminate race from our thinking, not adding to its influence, if for no other reason than the fact that the discourse itself cannot elevate since it deals with involuntary characteristics. Every time we throw money at this problem, the problem gets bigger. Every time that we spend time thinking about race, all of a sudden race has permeated everything and we're feeling that much more degraded by it, right? This just keeps happening. There's no way to take white, black, brown, yellow, red, whatever it is, and raise the conclusions into something that is both true and instructive. We just can't seem to use this stuff to make a better society. That's from what I can see. And when people use race as their guiding idea, they tend to punch below their weight intellectually. They treat it exactly the opposite way, where as soon as they start zero in on race, they're right there in their wheelhouse. But I think from what I can see, it really just means that they've turned to something that is hurtful toward the society of which they are a part. All right, so I want to make a few things very clear here. So let me show you this. These are disclaimers as relates to this channel. This channel will not contain any content advocating for or apologizing for white supremacy. Obviously, I'm not going to advocate for it, but neither can I apologize for it because I'm not responsible for it. It would just be another false apology. This channel is not a racial pity party for white people or black people. I'm not trying to select a particular group and give them a privileged position in my discourse. Instead of that, I want everybody to be held accountable, including for the roles that they've played in history. This channel does not endorse any political action that is motivated by race or racial discourse, except in cases of extreme and documentable prejudice acting as a provocation for institutional correction. That just boils down to, if race isn't really on the table, I don't think that we should be putting race on the table in order to spur ourselves into action. Finally, this channel is not diabolical in content, despite the name, through which shock effect is used to illustrate a point regarding the relationship of the speaker, me, as an antagonist to racial ideology specifically and racial sentiment more general. So there you have it. Those are really my main points here. Please join me in the future. I'm going to flesh out my video techniques. I'm going to flesh out the setting here. This is my first video, so I don't have a problem, obviously, with it being a little bit raw, feeling a little bit by the skirt, seat of my pants. That's okay. I hope that you'll join me. Go ahead and comment down below. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be as receptive and responsive as possible, depending on the volume and my other obligations. I'm a serious thinker. I hope to do some damage out here because I see these racial sentiment. I see racial ideology. I see them dominating the thinking of some of our best minds, it seems like. And there have to be ways for us to get these types of ideas to recede so that we can move forward as individuals and as reconciled groups. Because what we're doing right now is we're not moving forward as individuals at all, and we're moving forward as hostile and antagonistic groups. That has to change for our society to get better. It's just that simple. So thanks again for joining me. I'll see you again next time.